Hello guys, I'm Shakti Taneja and I'll be your mentor for this particular course. This is the introductory video for the data analysis course. Okay, so what is data analysis? Data analysis is a process. Okay, it is a process in which we get or collect the data that we need for our purposes. We clean that data if it is not already cleaned. I'll tell you what is cleaning in a few minutes. Okay, so we clean our data and then we analyze our data through various kinds of plots and then we present it after we have gotten some relationships from the data or inferences or whatever answers we need, because of which we have started this analysis process. Each analysis process is the same. Okay, whenever you start to analyze the data, you must first collect the data if you do not have the data that you need. Then you must check that the data fulfills the constraints. Suppose it should be in a tabular form. Each column of the data should have the correct data type, such as the numerical value should be of type integer or type float and not of type string. You must check all these things. Okay, and like I said, we must clean the data. Now cleaning or wrangling is a very uh, time consuming task if you do it step by step without any programming knowledge. Okay, so in Python or in R, we have code that is specifically used to clean the data. It helps us in the cleaning process to do it easier. Okay. Now, cleaning the data involves ensuring that the data is in appropriate format. So that is the tabular form. Then we must ensure that the columns of each type are in have the exact data type that they need. That is, if it is the date value, then it should be of type date. If it is an integer or a decimal value, then it should be of type int or a float, not of type string. Okay, you must see and check that these conditions are met. After that, you must check whether your data has any null values. You must check whether it has any duplicate values, because duplicate data is not of any use for us. We already have one of that particular row of that particular value, and we do not need any more. Unless and until that data makes sense, that duplicate row makes sense, you must remove it. And then you must see whether the null values are those values for which your particular uh, box, that is a particular in a particular column of a particular row, the value is not present. Suppose maybe you did not know it. Suppose when you have downloaded the data there is one empty column or a few empty columns there, then in that case it does not help you. Okay, so you must either put a certain value. Suppose for numerical data you can put 0. For a string type data you can put a certain character. Okay, so that when you analyze your data, you know that these values are actually empty. Or you must remove those rows which contain null values completely. Okay, this is the cleaning or wrangling process in the data analysis. Now, when we talk about collecting data, normally you will almost all the time only download your data files from the Udacity server that we have. That is, we would have already given you links for that particular data, or you would have to get that data online from certain sites. Suppose you are doing analysis of a particular uh, page in Twitter website. Okay, Now you know in Twitter we have likes, we have dislikes, we have retweets, we have followers, we have favorites, and these are all numerical values. And supposedly that the data that you have gotten, that you already have, does not contain a few of these values. If they do not contain these values, then you must get these values so that you can do your analysis properly. Okay. For that to happen, you must collect the data. Now, in case that data is for only that the data you need belongs to only a certain web page in a certain website. Suppose in the Twitter website, the data you need is of the page we rate dogs or some other person. Suppose it is only my page, okay, at Taneja Shakti, and you need to get the data of a particular post. Suppose you don't have the data of the number of likes for a particular post. Then for that you must download the source code of that page. The source code is made up of HTML. HTML is the programming language with which the websites are or web pages are written. When you search through Google for HTML, you will find we have certain tags in HTML through which we write the code. And now you already know that you need to find out the number of likes. So you know that likes is the keyword for which you have to search in the source code of that page. Through this, you can find the number of likes. But it is only a small part. Okay, it is only a small part of the source code of a particular page that you need to find. That is, the data is actually very small. But what if the data that you need is in a few gigabytes? You cannot actually check through the source page of each and every page of a particular website or of multiple websites. It is a very tedious process. For this, we have web scraping, a method known as web scraping or web crawling. In this, we create a bot or a bot. Basically, it is a code written in a certain language such as Python or R, which goes from web page to web page through hyperlinks and collects or gathers the data that we need based on certain keywords, such as the keywords that we may suppose I am talking about HTML. So the keywords may be the body tag, the HTML word, or the hypertext programming language, and such type of keywords. You know that you need these web pages must necessarily contain these keywords, and only then must you gather the web data of that web page. So this is the web scraping or web crawling method, in which you use a bot to collect your data from on www or World Wide Web online. Okay, now this is the data collecting step. I have already explained to you the data cleaning step, in which we remove all the unnecessary things that are within the data and turn it into a suitable form for the analysis. Now we come to the analysis part of the data. Analysis. Okay, as we said, data analysis. Now, when we talk about data analysis, there are various things that you need to keep in mind. First of all, when we analyze the data, the most useful kind of information that is there in the numerical part of the data. Okay. Now, if you are uh, analyzing the data regarding the number of movies or the ratings of a certain movie, then you need to see that which movie has the highest rate given, which movie has the lowest rate given, which movie has been viewed most, which movie has been viewed least. These kind of details you need to get, but these kind of details can be found using code easily. But when we talk about analysis, we mainly consider plots and graphs through which we find certain relationships between the data. Suppose I talk about the what should I say, the number of reviews a movie has and the budget that particular movie has, and you need to see whether there is any trend between these two columns. For that you must create a graph or a plot through which you can see whether there is a trend or not, whether these two have any relation to each other or not. Only when you have checked that these two are not related in whatsoever manner, only then can you be certain that the data you have, that the number of reviews a movie gets and the budget a movie has, either has a relationship, whether positive or negative, or has no relationship with each other. This is the analysis. In this, there is univariate analysis in which we only have a single independent column or variable. We have bivariate analysis, we have multivariate analysis in which there are 2 or 3 independent categories for which we check whether there is a relationship or not with a certain column or data. Okay, this was analysis. Now in the analysis process, the graphs that you create is only for you to be able to understand or check whether there are relationships found in the data or not. But when we talk about presenting that data, okay, when we talk about the last step of the analysis process, that is presenting your data, you must then create the graphs in a manner that is pleasing to the eye and that is easily understandable. As you know, there are many kinds of plots and graphs, such as the bar plots, the pie charts, the scatter plots, and there are many other kinds of plots. And you know that these plots uh, can have different kinds of colors and labels and legends and other such things. So you must create the plot in such a manner that the color combination for that particular plot is distinguishing if there are two categories or two variables, that is, it is bivariate. If it is multivariate, then it should be of many different colors so that you can see clearly that the values that are being shown are of different categories. This helps you understand the graph and the data easily. Okay. When you are presenting the data, there are many factors to consider, such as the type of plot or graph that you must use, the size of the most minuscule thing, that is to say, if you're talking about a scatter plot, then what should be the size of a point of data that you are representing? If you are talking about a bar plot, then what should be the width of a certain bar? What should be the gap between two bars? All these things you must consider when you are creating a plot or a graph. Then you must consider the color that a certain bar or a scatter plot or a certain type of data must have, so that you can differentiate between the data, two types of data within the plot, if it is a bivariate or a multivariate plot. And if it is not such a kind of plot, then you must use a color that is easily recognizable, easily distinguishable, so that the graph can be easily understood. In this case, the color should not be too dark. It should also not be too light so that the eye can see clearly. It should be in the medium range. Okay. Now that I have talked about the process of data analysis, we will talk about each and every step, that is the collecting of data, the cleaning or wrangling of data, the analyzing of data, and the presentation of the data. Okay, we will talk about these steps in detail later. For now, I'll say goodbye, have a rest, and read some more. Okay.